the big news that kind of popped off today, I know a lot of different people had it, Yahoo Sports, ESPN, Pete Thamel, and, Ross Dellinger as well. Kind of the big news was that Memphis, we had a conversation with Ryan Silverfield a month ago. Memphis is looking to get out, and they're not looking to just get out of the group of five. They're going to pay their way in somewhere. That's their goal. Offered nearly $200 million, around the $200 million mark, in terms of getting to wherever conference they wanted to go to. This was specifically to the Big 12, and also sponsorship deals that would come along with the conference in terms of two massive companies located right there in Memphis, in Lowe's and obviously FedEx. Will, this is attractive. This is essentially, and I don't want to offend this fan base because we do love them dearly and we love the people over in Dallas. This is kind of what SMU did. They forego, they what forgot, I don't even know how you say that word. I don't know the past tense of it. They essentially said, we're fine, we don't need the TV revenue, our donors will pay this. Memphis is essentially in kind of a different way saying we will pay our way into a conference. The Big 12 has reportedly declined that, and so it brings me to the question, what are your thoughts on Memphis making the jump? And I'll just say it, I think the ACC has to make the call. Like, I think this is a call that has to be made, needs to be made. And within the next week, I mean, there needs to be some rumblings about, could the ACC add Memphis to the mix?
So Gavin in the background is going to like this. Yeah, there's no doubt. The ACC's got to get in on this. Memphis football has certainly outgrown the American. I don't think there's anyone disputing that. Memphis basketball is always, everybody knows about Memphis basketball.
Yeah.
So, in the two bigger revenue generating sports, they're ready for this move. Obviously they got the financial backing. There's no question there. The ACC's got to get in on this. This would be, in my opinion, a big miss by the ACC especially if they don't even try. But, we've never held punches when talking about ACC leadership, so they'll probably just sit on their hands. As far as a get for the Big 12, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Memphis would be an interesting fit. Not financially, of course, they would fit right in, but culturally and I mean, regionally, geographically, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But Memphis, it feels more like an ACC type school, at least with their athletics for sure. Man, yeah, if I'm the ACC, I got to jump on this. But my concern would be, if I'm the ACC, is like, what are you going to offer me? Because I mean, the ACC is not going to say this, but outside looking in, I can't imagine Memphis going to the ACC with the same offer that they're going to the Big 12 with. I think from the financials of it, I haven't dug too deep into this, but I would think the Big 12 would be more attractive to Memphis. That's probably why they went to them first before going to the ACC. But it'd be interesting to see how it shakes out. I'm sure if the Big 12 said thanks, but no thanks, they'd probably turn around with the same offer to the ACC.
I think another thing of this too, you mentioned the fit in terms of geographically. Look, I mean, you've already thrown that out the window in regions with, I mean, not even SMU, but Stanford and Cal. And, that's just a wild concept to begin with there, of what you've done there in the ACC. I'm with you. It's a football program that's spending at the top of the G5 level. They recruit like they're at the top of the G5 level. And I'll just be real with you. I was talking with someone a couple days ago that's inside that building and in and around that building. And they said, we think of ourselves, we operate like a P4 program. And I think that's some of the biggest concepts of what you take away is when a team is looking to make that jump, what do you have to do differently in terms of elevating the way your process? What does that have to look at? What does that look like in terms of elevating your process across the college football landscape? And I think when you look at what Memphis does, hey, they're in recruitments. They have a decent footprint. I know someone put in the comments here, a couple of minutes ago, inside the state of Georgia, they went and got Antoine Hill out of Houston County to be their quarterback. We imagine he will be their starting quarterback potentially here in 2025. They just landed a defensive lineman out of, I believe, the Atlanta area a couple of days ago. So I think in terms of what they bring in on the field product, this falls closer to what you did with SMU last year rather than a Stanford and a Cal. Now, I'll knock Stanford. I'm not going to knock Cal because you and I've talked about it. It's kind of a put up, shut up year, and I know you're you have your feelings about Cal in terms of what the move they made this
They're
offseason.
they're mixed feelings. They're
Mixed
mixed feelings.
feelings, very, very strongly mixed feelings, if that can be said. I think Memphis is a perfect pull, and just we're going to talk about this kind of later in the show. Like, what does the ACC have to do? And you're not just going to bounce some things off, ideas off of each other here, but if you're the ACC, you have to be at the forefront of G5 expansion, in my opinion. Like, you hit a home run, a grand slam by adding SMU in terms of, and we said this last year, like, this isn't revisionist history. We sat here and told you last year this team is going to compete in the ACC in terms of budget, in terms of on the field product. Frankly, I don't think any of us thought they'd be in Charlotte in year one. I know what they were able to do, but I think just in terms of how they attack in their process, we all agree with that. Well, I think it's so important. Let's just talk about it for a second. If you're the ACC and you're kind of neck and neck with the Big 12 in terms of that tier 2 of conferences, the Big 12 has strong regions still, technically, and they also have a strong sense of mid in terms of everyone's battling each other. The ACC could really, really benefit from taking that next tier below them of teams. And I think Memphis fits it perfectly. And I just think if the ACC, you have to find ways to gain a competitive advantage, and adding not just quantity, but quality programs matters.
Yeah, and if you're the ACC, you got to get creative. I mean, Memphis is a really good start. I mean, they're centrally located. I think it kind of would kind of ground this conference and give it, a stronger sense of identity of what it's going to be, especially in athletics.
Mm-hmm.
You add Stanford, you add Cal, huge curveballs, and kind of like the opposite of what the rest of the ACC is, not just geographically, but I mean,
Yeah.
on the field. Yes, they have the academics, but it's really a step up from almost every other institution outside of Duke. Of course, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, but the rest of the conference, they're really on an island in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis seems like a more logical, more seamless fit into this conference in nearly every aspect.
Well, you mentioned basketball. I mean, you got Penny Hardaway there. They have a massive NIL base in terms of what FedEx is going to be contributing in terms of their. And by the way, I want to understand this. You can revenue share. People are going to continue to use collectives or NIL on top of that. So you get your 20 and a half, and then you're going to be able to utilize money on top of that. I just think for the ACC is, and I'm very intrigued. I'll be frank with you, man. I wish we were in Charlotte so we could ask the question in terms of expansion. What's your aggressiveness? And to ask Jim Phillips that, because I have been disappointed in terms of the way that Jim Phillips has navigated this new college athletics landscape. I feel like it's been very, I guess the best way to say it, I feel like it's been very reactionary rather than kind of proactive, like being on the forefront of it. And it's a good question here. JR says, how is Memphis in regards to academics? I'll be honest with you. I genuinely do not know. Like, I don't know where they rank academically, but I'll say
not great.
Okay, it's not now relative to what? Relative to the North Carolinas, the Georgia Techs, the Wake Forest. Like, is it like what is it relative to? I guess I don't know. I'm being for real. I don't know.
Lower, probably lower than Clemson, lower than Florida State, which Florida State is better than a lot of people think academically. Yeah, it's not great for academics. It's not much of a fit for academics, but for athletics, which is we all know is priority number one because you're trying to make money. They're a great fit.
You're trying to make money. I just saw this. So the U.S. News and World Report, 266 out of 436 is what I see on there.
Yep.
There we go. Nuke Jacket says the same.
Nuke Jacket's got it.
Yep. Facts and info there. And let me get Gavin in here for just 1 second. I think it's just super important to be at the forefront of things. And I think if you're Memphis and you're sitting here and you're trying to get in, right? And if you're the ACC, understanding where you are at in terms of the pecking order, like, let's just be realistic. You're a tier 2 conference. You need to be looking at ways to advance yourself. We're going to talk about what you can do on the field here in 2025. I think making the call to Memphis is super important. And somebody put in the comments, I know Dr. Bob is here, talk about academically, they fit the bill. Talk about the market, they fit the bill. Make the call to Tulane. Like, make that call in terms of what you have. You have two prominent, ACC or AAC programs. By the way, they changed that name today. Did you see
Yep.
that, by the way? The American Eagle. That's
I
wild.
can't remember what they're calling it, but yeah,
I
the
don't
conference has its own mascot.
mascot. It's weird. It's interesting. In terms of that, though, like those are two programs that I don't know, man. I just think the biggest thing is hitting right on its expansion. They've gone 1 for 3 so far, in my opinion. SMU, Stanford, and Cal. They've gone 1 for 3. We'll see if that advances any further.
This is business, right? The
Yeah.
best businesses, they last a long time. They have a lot of success because they're always on the forefront. They're always looking for the ways to improve. They're being proactive instead of reactive. We love quoting Moneyball on this channel. Adapt or die. And the ACC has been behind in that in all conference expansion. So it's if they could talk Memphis and Tulane to joining, I mean, we're looking at this conference in a totally different light, not just in football, not just in basketball, but really in everything.
Yeah, no, you're right. Memphis is a dump of a city, though. Gavin says, "Whoop that trick, Joe."
They can't be a dump. They've got a pyramid.
They do, and that would fit in well in the ACC, I believe. No, I that's just kind of where we start this off. There's no real gravitational pull to this, right? Like there's no super moving type of information that's happening that should tell you this is going to happen. I'm just thinking it's a phone call that needs to be made. If you're the ACC, you want to be taken more seriously. Memphis, if you come with this offer, I'll tell you one thing, Will. If they show up to the offices and they say we're going to give you, we'll buy in $200 million, we'll front that up. Oh, and we'll also bring Lowe's and FedEx as our sponsors. I don't even know why. Like, why would you even say no to that? Like, if you're the ACC, what is the potential downfalls to that if you were able to do that? I don't see any on the surface level, at least.
What could work in the ACC's favor is the Big 12's already standing sponsorships, corporate sponsorships.
True.
They've got some big ones, and of course, I don't know all the legalities of it. I don't know the contract details of that, but that could cause a hang up in Memphis trying to negotiate their way into the Big 12. So this could be an opportunity for the ACC to swoop in.